So, which brand of yeast did you use, please? I tried making puff puff and it didn't rise. Please help out. I'm trying to take a break from this puff puff because I've been dragged. My legs are paining me. Anyway, I'm just joking anyway. A lot of people have been telling me the way I pronounce puff puff. So, if you're being triggered, I don't know why people take things so serious. If you're being triggered with the way I pronounce puff puff, please just block your ear whenever the sound comes out. Anyway, if you want to make puff puff or bread or anything that you need to use yeast, you need your water to be lukewarm. If you use cold water, it's going to, just as I said in that video, it's going to affect the yeast. If you use hot water, it will kill the yeast. So you need lukewarm water. So how to get the perfect temperature of water, because we are not scientists. You don't want to be carrying around a probe or a thermometer to check. You can do that, but the simplest way to do this is 1 cup of boiling water and 1 cup of cold water. Add that together and you have 2 cup water. So 1 part of cold water, 1 part of warm water. Add it together, you get the reasonable temperature that is okay, perfect for your yeast to prove. This is actually the yeast I use. This is Allison's. I've never thought of pronouncing this name, but this is the yeast I use. You can get this in any store: Tesco, Aldi, Asda. Anyway, it's Sainsbury's. You can get it any of the store. And I have to address this again. For those of you that dragged me, that my puff puff, block your ears, that my puff puff has too many yeast. 9 tablespoons of yeast for 3 kg of puff puff. Let me get it. Aside puff puff, I've been doing other baking. In that recipe, I used a regular tablespoon. 9 tablespoons of this, it's not too much. So I think it's best I will stick with my gram measurement, which I used about 60 grams of yeast. So measuring with your scale is usually best. So over the years, I've used this particular tablespoon, and I know whenever I measure 1 of these tablespoons, it usually gives me 7 grams of yeast. But regular standard tablespoon would give you about 9 grams of yeast. So guys, stick with scale measurements, and over time you get better. Even without using the scale, you tend to know what a particular measurement looks like. So 3 kg, I use 9. You say, 9 is too much, 2 tablespoons. Even if you use 2 tablespoons of yeast, you know the type of yeast to use. But if you use too much, it will be bad. If you use too much yeast in your puff puff, it will definitely turn bad. So you know the yeast you've been using, you know the measurement that suits well for you. And if you're confused on HAD dropped this recipe and these people are saying it's too much and I want to make puff puff, I'm a bit panicky, I don't want it to go bad, just know this. Based on my research, in every recipe that calls for yeast, let's say you're making bread or puff puff or pizza, you know you use yeast for those recipes. It's 1% or 2% of the quantity of flour. Just like let me bring mathematics. Just like you want to make 500 gram worth of puff puff, so you're expected to use like 5 grams of yeast or 10 grams of yeast, thereabout. Within that range, it should be fine. So which is 1% to 2% weight of that flour. So you can use 8, you can use 6. It's still yeast, it will still rise, because when I used 9 tablespoons, you know that puff puff will rise faster. You get, it's going to rise faster. It won't change the taste, it won't change the smell. Even the people that said it will make your stomach to start rising, I don't know which kind of, look at what puff puff did to my stomach. How many days I ate puff puff? See what puff, that's the only thing that puff puff did to me. So although I've been using toothpick to pop it and it's thank God. But I hope I've replied you. Just try and check your yeast and the water used in mixing the yeast. Some yeast you don't even need to mix it with water and sugar. Some they are instant, you can mix it with dry ingredient. That particular yeast I use, even instruction, you can use it straight on dry, but always make sure it's best. To me, I prefer it's best to mix it with sugar to be sure it can prove. Once it can prove, like it shows that bubbly stuff, then it's safe to use. It's going to make your hello. What are you eating? Paper. Where? How? Oh God, these babies. So yeah, what else? We use whatever type of yeast and quantity. I've dropped a recipe, and this recipe is not far because I took my time. I went to order recipes on YouTube. I had to, after my video, I had to go there like, wait, have I done the undoable? I had to go to compare my recipe because this recipe is what I've been using for smaller batch. I just multiply it. It's simple. I just multiply it and I use that 9 tablespoons. You can use less. 6 tablespoons is okay. If you want to use more, you can use more. But if you use too much, it's going to affect your batter. Your batter will have where are you getting all these papers?